First, Mizaistom Nana, the Ox. Isaac Netero built an organization within an organization. When he handpicked the Zodiacs, the legendary 12th chairman of the Hunter Association wasn't looking for the 12 strongest hunters alive. He was designing a precision strike team, a council built from specialized skills that would complement each other in ways raw power never could. The Zodiacs appear early in the story's later arcs, introduced during the political chaos following Netero's death in the Chimera Ant conflict. Their founding principle wasn't survival of the fittest, it was synergy against impossible odds. Mizaistom Nana represents that philosophy perfectly. The Ox Zodiac is a blacklist hunter and likely a double star, methodical to the point of obsession. His abilities aren't designed to kill, they're designed to control. Mizaistom's Hatsu, the traffic light ability, conjures entities based on a traffic signal system. Red means stop. Approach him when red appears, and you're briefly paralyzed. It's a conjuration-type technique built for capture, investigation, and surgical intervention. Netero didn't choose him because he could punch harder than anyone else. He chose him because when the Dark Continent sends horrors that can't be defeated through brute strength alone, Mizaistom could lock them down long enough for his teammates to finish the job. And here's where the genius shows. Mizaistom's paralysis was designed to set up Saiyu's sensory deprivation attack. 2 abilities, 1 devastating combo. Freeze the target, strip their senses, neutralize threats far beyond human capacity without engaging them in close combat. That's the Zodiac doctrine. Specialized, interdependent, lethal when coordinated. Mizaistom appears prominently during the 13th Hunter Chairman election, supporting Cheadle Yorkshire's faction against Pariston Hill's chaos-driven agenda. After the election, he boards the Black Whale, the colossal cruise ship escorting Beyond Netero's forbidden expedition to the Dark Continent. On board, Mizaistom becomes the chief investigator for a series of brutal murders occurring on Tiers 3 and 4, casualties of the Kakin Empire's Succession War, a blood-soaked royal tournament where 14 princes fight to the death using parasitic Nen beasts. Mizaistom serves as Kurapika's primary contact within the association, coordinating intelligence while the ship descends into madness. Calm, analytical, and defined by boundaries, Mizaistom embodies the Ox's patience. But patience has limits. And when the association discovered that one of their own had been a traitor all along, those limits shattered. Second, Saiyu the monkey. The monkey Zodiac was supposed to be Mizaistom's perfect partner. Saiyu, a blacklist hunter and martial artist, wielded one of the most terrifying Nen abilities in the Zodiac arsenal. His Hatsu requires conjured monkeys to physically touch the target. Once contact is made, the victim loses 3 senses simultaneously: sight, hearing, and speech. Blindness, deafness, muteness, all at once. It's a nightmare scenario for any opponent, especially creatures from the Dark Continent that rely on heightened perception to hunt. Pair that with Mizaistom's brief paralysis, and you have a 1-2 combination capable of neutralizing threats without ever risking close-range engagement. This wasn't an accident. Netero built the Zodiacs with tactical redundancy and devastating synergy. Saiyu's role was containment through deprivation, rendering superior opponents helpless without landing a single killing blow. Saiyu appears during the chairman election and is assigned to the Black Whale expedition. But during the preparation phase, the truth came out. Saiyu was working for Beyond Netero. He was a double agent, embedded within the Zodiacs for years, feeding intelligence to Pariston Hill's faction. His betrayal confirmed what Cheadle Yorkshire had feared from the beginning. Pariston's infiltration wasn't opportunistic. It was surgical, methodical, and long-term. Pariston had been preparing for this expedition for years, planting operatives deep within the association's most elite ranks. Saiyu's defection shattered the Zodiac's operational security. The team designed for perfect cooperation now had to operate under the assumption that anyone could be compromised. Trust, already fragile after Pariston's election victory and immediate resignation, became a liability. Saiyu remains active aboard the Black Whale, serving Beyond Netero's faction directly. His sensory deprivation, Hatsu now turned against the very organization he once served. Third, Pariston Hill, the rat. If Mizaistom and Saiyu represented Netero's tactical vision, then Pariston Hill represented his cruelest test. The original rat Zodiac, triple-star hunter, former vice-chairman of the Hunter Association, and the single most destabilizing force in the organization's history. Netero chose Pariston specifically because he was not a yes-man. The chairman didn't want loyalty. He wanted friction. He wanted someone who would guarantee internal conflict, forcing the association to adapt, evolve, and harden before facing the existential threats of the Dark Continent. Pariston fulfilled that role with terrifying enthusiasm. He didn't just cause chaos, he enjoyed it. He openly admitted that he felt happiness when people hated him. His motivation wasn't power, it was the game itself. Pariston's Nen type remains unconfirmed, but the leading theory points to Specialist or Transmuter, with an ability that subtly resists or steals the results of others' efforts. He achieved triple star status, a rank requiring monumental contributions to society, without apparent combat prowess. That suggests manipulation on a scale most hunters can't comprehend. Strategic sabotage hidden behind a charming smile. Pariston's defining moment came during the 13th Hunter Chairman election, triggered by Netero's death. The election was supposed to be straightforward. Instead, Pariston weaponized bureaucracy. He used temp hunters, government-contracted hunters loyal to him, to manipulate voter turnout, forcing repeated ballots and prolonging the spectacle for weeks. Every rule, every procedure, every loophole became ammunition. Cheadle Yorkshire led the opposition, the dog Zodiac fighting to restore order and institutional integrity. But Pariston was always 3 moves ahead. And then he won. Pariston Hill was elected 13th Hunter Chairman. The vote was final, the chaos had succeeded. And then he immediately resigned. Pariston never wanted the position. He wanted the disruption. By winning and resigning in Chapter 341, he transitioned the conflict from political theater to strategic warfare. He left the association destabilized, his departure creating a power vacuum that forced Cheadle into emergency leadership. And then he joined Beyond Netero's Dark Continent expedition as the number 2 executive, cementing himself as the expedition's primary antagonist. Pariston didn't leave the Zodiacs to escape. He left because the real game was just beginning. Aboard the Black Whale, surrounded by princes wielding parasitic Nen beasts, mafia families vying for power, and the looming horrors of the Dark Continent, Pariston finally had the stage he wanted. No rules, no oversight, just chaos, strategy, and the pleasure of watching everyone scramble to survive. Fourth, Cheadle Yorkshire, the dog. Where Pariston thrived in chaos, Cheadle Yorkshire fought to contain it. The dog Zodiac, triple star hunter, disease hunter specializing in medical and legal fields, and after Pariston's resignation, the 13th Hunter Chairman. Cheadle appears during the midpoint of the story, specifically during the chairman election arc. She led the ethical faction of the Zodiacs, the hunters who believed Pariston was involved in underworld dealings and needed to be stopped. She was meticulous, analytical, and defined by her belief in institutional legitimacy. Her Nen type is theorized to be Conjurer or Specialist, fitting her methodical approach to problem solving. While Pariston played games, Cheadle worked to maintain the integrity of the election rules, ensuring the process remained legitimate even as it spiraled into procedural warfare. When Pariston resigned, Cheadle inherited a fractured association. Her first priority was stabilization. She recruited new Zodiacs to fill the vacant seats left by Pariston and Ging Freecss, who had also departed. Her choices were strategic. Kurapika Kurta, a blacklist hunter with specialized Nen techniques, and a personal vendetta that could be weaponized for the association's needs. And Leorio Paradinight, a populist figure who had gained massive political capital during the election through raw emotional honesty. Cheadle's recruitment pitch to Leorio was surgical. She offered him access to advanced medical study under her guidance, appealing directly to his deepest ambition, becoming a doctor. Leorio accepted, not for combat glory, but for knowledge. It was a perfect demonstration of the Zodiac principle. functional specialization over raw strength. As chairman, Cheadle coordinates the Dark Continent expedition from Hunter Association headquarters. Her role is logistical command, managing intelligence from the Black Whale, liaising with the V5, the 5 world superpowers funding the mission, and attempting to contain Beyond Netero's rogue operation. She's the anchor of legitimacy in an organization hemorrhaging trust. Every decision she makes is calculated to preserve the association's integrity while navigating a mission designed to test humanity's limits. 5th, Ging Freecss, the Boar. Ging Freecss was never built for institutional loyalty. The Boar Zodiac, or sometimes listed as the Dog depending on the roster, double-star ruins hunter, archaeological legend, and father of gone Freecss. Ging is defined by one principle: he neither seeks victory nor accepts defeat. He plays the game for the complexity of the challenge itself. Ging appears early in the Hunter x Hunter narrative as a background figure the absent father Gon searches for throughout the series. But his true introduction comes during the chairman election. Ging participated in the election under terms that put him at a disadvantage, simply to observe the outcome. He attained his hunter license at age 12. He's responsible for discovering the Lurka ruins and multiple other archaeological breakthroughs. And his Nen ability is one of the most adaptive in the series. Ging's confirmed Nen type is Emitter, with a Hatsu that allows him to copy and replicate an opponent's ability after being struck by it. It's a technique that requires immense skill, battlefield awareness, and the willingness to take damage in order to gain tactical advantage. It's not a power designed for domination. It's designed for adaptation, countering, and turning an opponent's strength into a weakness. After the election concluded and Ging finally met Gon following the Chimera Ant crisis, he left the association. He didn't join Cheadle's restructured Zodiacs. Instead, he joined Beyond Netero's Dark Continent expedition, the same operation Pariston now controlled as number 2. Ging's presence aboard the Black Whale immediately disrupted Pariston's organization. Beyond's crew split into 2 factions, those who followed Pariston and those who accepted Ging's funding and leadership. Ging counter-sabotaged Pariston's control, preventing the rat from achieving total strategic coherence. It was classic Ging, not seeking outright victory, but ensuring the game remained interesting by introducing calculated instability. Ging operates as an independent agent aboard the Black Whale, neither fully aligned with the Hunter Association nor with Beyond's rogue expedition. He's there for the Dark Continent itself, for the challenge it represents. And if that means undermining Pariston along the way, so be it. 6th, Kurapika Kurta, the replacement rat. When Pariston resigned, Cheadle Yorkshire needed to fill the rat seat immediately. She needed someone with the strategic intellect to match Pariston's chaos, but with a focused purpose instead of nihilistic entertainment. She found Kurapika Kurta. Kurapika is the sole survivor of the Kurta clan, massacred by the Phantom Troop for their scarlet eyes. Rare biological treasures that glow crimson under emotional stress and remain permanently scarlet if the owner dies in that state. Kurapika's entire existence revolves around 2 goals: retrieve every stolen scarlet eye and destroy the Phantom Troop. He's a blacklist hunter specializing in high-condition Nen techniques, and his abilities are among the most versatile and lethal in the series. Kurapika's Nen type is Conjuration, but when his eyes turn scarlet, he shifts to specialization through a technique called Emperor Time, granting him 100% proficiency in all 6 Nen types simultaneously. It's an ability that breaks the normal rules of Nen mastery, allowing him to use enhancement, emission, manipulation, transmutation, conjuration, and specialization techniques at full strength. The cost is brutal. Every second Emperor Time is active, Kurapika loses 1 hour of his lifespan. His primary weapon is his chains, each with a specialized function. The healing chain uses enhancement to rapidly recover injuries. The judgment chain uses specialization to enforce absolute rules on a target. Violate the condition, and the chain pierces your heart. The chain jail captures and restricts, specifically designed to neutralize members of the Phantom Troop. Kurapika built his entire Hatsu around killing 13 specific people. Kurapika appears prominently during the York New City arc where he hunts the Phantom Troop. He reappears during the chairman election when Cheadle recruits him to the Zodiacs in Chapter 343. His acceptance wasn't about loyalty to the association, it was strategic. By joining the Zodiacs, Kurapika gained protected access to the Black Whale and a position as a royal bodyguard for the Kakin royal family during the Succession War. And that's where his target was hiding. Prince Tsarievich Huigoru, 4th Prince of Kakin, possessor of the largest private collection of scarlet eyes in existence. Kurapika embedded himself directly into the Succession War, operating undercover as a bodyguard while simultaneously executing his Blacklist Hunter mission. His personal vendetta perfectly aligned with the association's need for intelligence and intervention within the volatile royal environment. Kurapika isn't just hunting eyes. He's hunting a prince with a parasitic Nen beast, surrounded by royal guards, in the middle of a death match between 14 heirs, all while the ship sails toward the Dark Continent. He's burning his lifespan 1 hour at a time to achieve it. 7th, Leorio Paradinight, the replacement Boar. Leorio Paradinight is not a typical Zodiac. He's not a triple-star hunter, he's not a tactical genius, he's not a specialized combatant. He's a medical student with an emitter-type Hatsu and a stubborn refusal to stay silent when the world demands it. Leorio appears early in the Hunter x Hunter story as one of Gon's closest friends, taking the Hunter exam alongside him. His goal was always clear: become a doctor. But to afford medical school, he needed the resources and connections that came with a Hunter license. Leorio's defining trait isn't strength, it's integrity. He's loud, emotional, and honest to a fault. And during the 13th Hunter Chairman election, that honesty made him a political force. When the election devolved into procedural warfare, Leorio snapped. In front of the entire Hunter Association, he publicly called out the manipulation, the bureaucracy, and the game playing that was preventing real leadership. His emotional outburst, and a long-distance Nen strike aimed at Ging Freecss, resonated with hunters exhausted by Pariston's theatrics. Leorio's popularity skyrocketed. He became a populist voice, a candidate who represented frustration with the system itself. Cheadle recognized his value immediately. After becoming chairman, she recruited Leorio to the Zodiacs by offering him exactly what he wanted: advanced medical training under her guidance as a disease hunter. Leorio accepted in Chapter 343, joining the Zodiacs not for combat, but for knowledge. His inclusion proves the core Zodiac principle: membership isn't about being the strongest. It's about functional specialization. Leorio's confirmed Nen type is emitter, and his demonstrated ability involves long-distance aura projection, allowing him to strike targets from extreme range. But his real value to the Zodiacs is political. He's charismatic, relatable, and represents the voice of common hunters. While the Association navigates the Dark Continent mission, Leorio operates from headquarters, pursuing his medical studies and serving as a public-facing representative of the new Zodiac Order. He's the Zodiac who wasn't chosen for war. He was chosen for what comes after. 8th, Botobai Gigante, the Dragon. The Dragon Zodiac is authority made flesh. Botobai Gigante is a military strategist hunter, recognized for superb leadership capabilities and decades of field experience. He's a high-ranking voice within the Zodiacs, often serving as a critical decision-maker in security and logistical planning for missions, where failure means extinction. Botobai appears during the chairman election and is currently deployed aboard the Black Whale. His personality aligns with traditional dragon symbolism: commanding, decisive, and strategic. His Nen type is theorized to be specialist or emitter, with a Hatsu likely designed for large-scale command or coordinated attacks. Given his military background, his ability probably isn't about individual combat. It's about battlefield control, coordinating multiple hunters in high-pressure environments where even a single mistake can lead to catastrophic failure. Botobai is responsible for major decisions regarding the containment of Beyond Netero aboard the Black Whale and the overall security structure of the expedition. He's the Zodiac who ensures the mission doesn't collapse under its own logistical weight. His role isn't flashy, it's essential. And in an environment where 14 princes are deploying parasitic Nen beasts, mafia families are waging shadow wars, and the ship itself is a floating death trap. Botobai's strategic oversight is the only thing preventing total chaos. He's the kind of leader who doesn't need to be the strongest in the room. He just needs to make sure the strongest people in the room are pointing in the right direction. 9th, Kanzai, the Tiger. The Tiger Zodiac is impulse and adrenaline. Kanzai is hot-blooded, simple-minded, and frequently impatient. He's a treasure hunter, and his emotional nature suggests his Nen type is likely Enhancer or Emitter. He's built for frontal assault, high-speed intervention, and aggressive protection. Kanzai appears during the chairman election, often voicing his frustration with the slow-moving political process. He's the Zodiac who wants action, not deliberation. His function within the team is straightforward. When something needs to be destroyed quickly, Kanzai destroys it. When a threat requires immediate physical response, Kanzai responds. During the election, Kanzai made a notable comparison, suggesting the collective Zodiac strength was favorable compared to hunters like Morel and Knav, two veteran hunters who had fought in the Chimera Ant crisis. It was a bold claim, emphasizing group competence over individual skill. Kanzai wasn't saying he could beat Morel one-on-one. He was saying the Zodiacs, as a unit, were designed to handle threats those individuals couldn't. Kanzai is currently aboard the Black Whale, likely assigned to rapid response and frontline containment. His role is simple, but critical. In an environment filled with Nen beasts, royal assassins, and unpredictable threats, the Zodiacs need someone who can hit first and hit hard. Kanzai is that someone. 10th, Gel, the Snake. The Snake, Zodiac is poison, patience, and precision. Gel is a poison hunter with expertise in chemistry, medicine, and biological threats. She's mysterious, secretive, and cautious, traits that make her indispensable for the Dark Continent, where pathogenic and toxic environments are the norm, not the exception. Gel appears during the chairman election and is currently deployed aboard the Black Whale as part of the science team. Her Nen type is theorized to be Transmuter, with an ability that modifies her aura to possess toxic properties. She can potentially transform her arm into a serpent or inject venom into enemies, combining biological expertise with lethal Nen application. Her function isn't combat dominance, it's containment and neutralization of threats that can't be punched into submission. The Dark Continent is home to S-class calamities, diseases, parasites, and biological horrors that make the Chimera Ants look manageable. Gel's role is to identify, analyze, and counter those threats before they annihilate the expedition. She's often seen alongside Kanzai and Saccho, forming a tactical subgroup within the Zodiacs. While Kanzai handles brute force and Saccho manages conflict resolution, Gel handles the invisible killers, the toxins, pathogens, and chemical hazards that kill silently. 11th, Pyon the Rabbit. The Rabbit Zodiac isn't a fighter. Pyon is a paleograph hunter specializing in ancient languages, technology, and intelligence. She's extroverted, social, and highly perceptive. Her value to the Zodiacs isn't physical, it's intellectual and logistical. Pyon appears during the chairman election and is currently aboard the Black Whale. Her Nen type is theorized to be Manipulator or Emitter, but her primary role is administrative and communications focused. She handles the complex digital and linguistic requirements of a large-scale international expedition involving multiple governments, the Hunter Association, the Kikan Empire, and Beyond Netero's rogue crew. In an environment where information is as valuable as combat ability, Pyon ensures the Zodiacs can communicate, coordinate, and process intelligence across language barriers and encrypted channels. She's the Zodiac who doesn't need to fight. She needs to make sure everyone else can fight effectively by providing the information they need to survive. 12. Saccho Kobayakawa, the Horse. The Horse Zodiac is mediation and control. Saccho Kobayakawa is a trouble hunter, specializing in swordsmanship and conflict resolution. His role within the Zodiacs is internal security, handling diplomatic tensions and preventing conflicts from escalating into violence. Saccho appears during the chairman election and is currently aboard the Black Whale. His Nen type is theorized to be Manipulator or Transmuter, and his swordsmanship suggests a Hatsu designed for rapid, focused engagement or battlefield control. His function is critical in an environment like the Succession War, where tensions between royal guards, mafia families, and the Zodiacs themselves can erupt into lethal confrontations at any moment. Saccho is the Zodiac who steps in before violence starts, using negotiation, intimidation, and measured force to de-escalate situations. He's not there to win wars. He's there to prevent them from starting in the first place. 13th, Ginta, the sheep. The sheep Zodiac is calm, straightforward, and functional. Ginta is a poaching hunter, specializing in tracking and capturing rare fauna. His expertise lies in cataloging and neutralizing new biological threats, making him essential for the Dark Continent, where unknown species and creatures far beyond human comprehension are the norm. Ginta appears during the chairman election and is currently aboard the Black Whale. His Nen type is theorized to be Enhancer or Conjurer, with abilities tailored for field biology and tracking rather than direct combat. His role confirms the Zodiac philosophy. They need field biologists and tracking specialists far more than additional brute force fighters. Ginta is the Zodiac who captures, studies, and reports. He's the one who identifies threats before they become catastrophes. 14th, Cluck, the chicken. The chicken Zodiac is administration and procedure. Cluck is the head of the administrative division of the Hunter Association, ensuring the bureaucratic integrity of the organization during times of crisis. Cluck appears during the chairman election as a key administrative ally to Cheadle, maintaining procedural legitimacy while Pariston weaponized every loophole and rule. She's currently aboard the Black Whale, supporting the logistical complexity of the Dark Continent mission. Her Nen type is theorized to be manipulator or emitter, but her functional role is primarily organizational. She's the Zodiac who ensures the mission doesn't collapse under its own administrative weight. Contracts, supplies, communications, personnel management. Cluck handles the invisible framework that keeps the expedition operational. She's the Zodiac no one notices until everything falls apart. The Zodiacs were never meant to be the strongest 12 hunters alive. They were meant to be the 12 who could survive the Dark Continent together. Beyond Netero designed a team where every member filled a critical gap: combat, medicine, logistics, intelligence, containment, negotiation, tracking, administration, and he built in a test. Pariston Hill, the agent of chaos, was chosen specifically to force the organization to adapt under pressure. The test worked. Pariston destabilized the association, exposed its vulnerabilities, and forced Cheadle to rebuild with new members like Kurapika and Leorio. And now, aboard the Black Whale, surrounded by princes wielding parasitic Nen beasts, mafia wars, and Beyond Netero's forbidden expedition, the Zodiacs face their true purpose: survival, cooperation, and the question of whether humanity is ready for what waits beyond the known world.